Welcome in. Welcome in. Don't be shy, guys. Come on in and listen to this week's episode of your favorite podcast, Chiquis and Chill. Now, as you can tell by the title of this episode, we're going to be talking about something that people have very different opinions about. I feel like every couple takes a different approach and has different rules when it comes to having friends of the opposite sex, and I'm here to share mine. I know this episode is going to get a little juicy, so let's hop right into it. I've decided to bring my wonderful husband, Emilio, to talk about this topic. I wanted to get a male's perspective, and I also wanted to give you guys a little behind the scenes look at how we handle things in our relationship. Okay, so let's talk about it. Okay, so I'm going to start off by saying that when I met Emilio, it was different in every single way. He is 7 years younger. I think you wanted to have a different type of relationship. When we first, let's go back, way back, okay? 4.5 years ago. So he was kind of like, okay, I want to do my thing. I want to go on trips because I think the first week that we were together, I went on a trip to a wedding. And then the week after when I came back, then he left on a trip and he was with a friend recording, working, quote unquote. And there was a bunch of girls. What?
It's not quote unquote.
Yes, it is quote unquote because, okay, fine. You were working and you got paid. Yes. But you just had a lot of fun with this particular client and who I love, by the way. He's awesome. But when he was single then, he had a bunch of girls where you guys were, and there was a lot of ass shaking and thongs and stuff. And that I remember him going and how uncomfortable I felt because I'm like, okay, this is my opportunity to grow. I want to grow. I want to be better. I want this relationship to work. Again, it was very fresh. It was 2 weeks in, but we were really in it. And I really felt like, okay, I really like this guy. And this is not what I was expecting in any way. It wasn't the right time. And I was a little jaded and I was very honest with him, but I wanted it to work. So I remember him saying, okay, well, I still want to be myself and go with my friends and go on trips and this and this and that. And I said, okay, fine. This is something new for me. I'm going to make this work. And I'm also going to do the same. With that being said, he also has a lot of female friends, very beautiful female friends, in my opinion. I have met them all. I don't want to be controlling you guys. Like, that's my biggest thing. I'm like, I want him to be himself. I feel like, and I learned from the past that if you hold on too tight, the person's going to want to let loose. So you just have to let people be and just say, hey, this makes me feel a little uncomfortable. But anyway, it was very different for me. But again, I think I did a pretty good job, and tell me if I didn't, but I feel like I did a pretty good job with embracing, and you were very good with letting me know, hey, this is my friend, and he would go to lunches with his friends a lot, and he doesn't do that as much. And I remember thinking, oh my God, this is so weird. This is so foreign for me because, I was with Latinos that were very machistas, and it was like, no, you can't show too much cleavage and you can't have guy friends and this and that. And I was like, okay, yeah, you can't have any friends of the opposite sex is what I thought. But I'm glad that we're together and that that I experienced this with you, because you did a very nice job with letting me know about your friends that are females and introduced me right away. And I think that made the biggest difference. Do you have anything to say?
Yeah, no, it's a lot. I just,
I know. I said a lot.
I think now that, especially when I look back, I think what I really wanted, because even like when you said, I may have said this, I may have said it differently. I honestly, I don't really remember because it was a long time ago, but like, when you said like, in the beginning, I want to be able to go on trips. I want to do this. I want to do that. I don't necessarily remember that feeling of wanting that. But what I do remember is just, I knew I just wanted to do things different. And maybe I didn't know the best way to do that yet because I had never done it before. I was not a good person in my 20s, especially in partnerships. And I never felt comfortable to just be like, all right, we're all here. We're all, include a partner in everything, in every part of my life. And when I met you, it was the first time that I did that.
Mm.
So it was just really me trying to navigate on how to do it. And it wasn't perfect. I made mistakes. I didn't know what I was doing, but the wanting to be different, I kept with that.
Mm-hmm.
And it got me to wherever we're at now. So
yeah. Have you realized that you have more female friends than guy friends?
it's different, I feel, for your perspective versus mine, because like, I just think it's even. Like, I think it's really even because there's my close people that I'll call on a weekly basis. They're 2 or 3 and they're all dudes.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a female friend actually who I call on a regular basis or even really talk to on a regular basis as much.
Do you think it's because we're together? Honestly.
Not really. Things just change. Like, your daily things change. Like, when I'm in my 20s, like, yeah, I would go probably have lunch with more often, but that's because we probably live 5 minutes away from each other. It was like your life is different. You don't have like someone that you're like, that's your priority, that's a part of your life in such a big way. And even if I did have someone, I wouldn't bring them. You know what I mean? It's not because I'm married. It doesn't change because I'm married and because I can't and because I have. It has nothing to do with that. It's just life just changes.
Yeah, because I do want to clarify that. Yeah, because I remember in the beginning it made me feel a little uncomfortable because it was something new for me. But I met them all, the ones that are important to you anyway. You know, all these women that you introduced me to very, very quickly. And they made me feel a lot of peace. I love them all, you know, and I appreciate them very much. And also, I think you are the type of guy that girls can talk to. And when they need advice, like, you're that guy. You know, there's certain guys and you're one of those guys. And I've learned that throughout the years, which is why it doesn't bother me anymore. But in reality, let's be honest, what do you really think about couples having friends of the opposite sex?
I think especially like in our conversations, if I have to ever say, oh, my friend asked me to do this, or my friend asked me to do that, the word friend, when your partner says it, the partner that's listening to it, sometimes that word friend can feel a lot heavy because there's a lot of unknown with it. It was like, what does friend mean? And most of the time it's just how else do you refer to someone that you just know, you know? Mm-hmm. You just kind of refer to the word friend, but
maybe next time use homegirl.
There's like, I think what we get scared of is like the unknown of friend, like, because in this world, so many things can happen. Mm-hmm. We feel like there's a dark side of friend sometimes. And it's like, sometimes they're just not. Like, I literally I met this person maybe 7 years ago, and then I've just known them now in my life. And it's not more than that. But I understand. Because like, if you just be like, hey, I have this friend, and I'm like, oh, I never heard of him. And well, of course, like, you lived an entire life before me. Mm-hmm. And you've met people and you know people.
That's what you told me, by the way. You're like, I lived an entire life before you, babe. I know a lot of people. And I was like harsh in a way, but then I'm like, it's a harsh reality. He's being honest. I can't be so sensitive, but it's true. You're right.
Yeah, but it's not an insult or like a threat or anything to like,
I know.
It's just more of I see it more as a fact. You know what I mean? Like, versus like trying to make you feel like, well, I had a whole life before. Like, that's not the way I mean it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
In my mind, sometimes I'm like, there isn't anyone before me. Like, I'm his first. Everything. You know? Everything. Okay, so let me ask you the question in a different way. How would you feel if your wife, Janae, had friends of the opposite sex?
I mean, if that's just that, the question is like, okay, yeah. Like, I think there needs to be more than just that. Do you have friends? Yes, you have a lot of friends that are.
I have a lot of gay friends.
You have a lot of friends just that are male or female.
I know a lot of people.
Gay or not.
There's a lot of acquaintances. See, that's a difference. Yes. Like the people that we just mentioned, you have friends that are females. I have a lot of acquaintances that are males, and I keep them there. There is a huge boundary, I guess, that I've always kept even before you. Now, I think that it's a little different for us because you came with these friends into the relationship and I was coming into your life and I had to adjust and accept, and I did because I love you and because you did a very good job with being honest. And I think that's what we have to clarify here, that I think it's the way that you approached everything and you did it early on. It wasn't a surprise. You weren't hiding it because you were trying to do things differently. That made me feel safe. And I met them and they're all amazing women whom I love very much, that now they're my friends. Now, if there's just a random female coming in, it's like, oh, she's my friend. It's like, well, wait a second. That's a little weird for me, you know? And I think that would be the same situation on my end. Like I have a lot of friends. I have, like I said, like a lot of gay friends that I talk to all the time, but there's no threat there because they're gay, right? But there are a lot of industry men that I know. But again, it's not someone that I would text all the time. But I'm curious to know, like, what if there's someone, like, for instance, I don't know, I can't even think of someone, but someone that I've worked with in the past that has said, hey, let's catch up. Let's go to lunch. And you've probably met them. Would you be okay? Like you've met them in passing and you know who they are, let's say. And I'm like, hey, my friend invited me to lunch. You know him, so-and-so. Would you be okay with me going to lunch with him?
I think there's I mean, you know this about me. I, as your husband, as the protector of our home and the protector of you, I read people and I'm straight up with my feelings towards people. Mm-hmm. I can get a jump on someone pretty quickly, I feel. And it depends on like the person. And I think that's okay to say because I feel like that goes both ways. Like
for sure. Yeah.
If you don't feel comfortable with someone and you can just kind of tell, I mean, I would hope that you would hope that I would know better to like not even bring it to the table.
Yeah.
And same with you. And it's like, I think it goes with the trust. It goes with the trust. Like I chose you to be my wife because I trust that you'll make the right decision. Mm-hmm. You won't ever present anything that's on some weird stuff.
Yeah. I know you now. You know, like I know the way you are and what you'd be okay with or not. And I know better in certain situations, you know?
And I feel like that's what we've built, where it's like bringing it up to your partners is like definitely the right thing to do. But going into it, you should probably already know the answer, I feel, with whatever it is. Or sometimes there just needs to be a discussion about it. Mm-hmm. And after the discussion, it's like, it's not like a normal thing that we do in our schedule, in our daily, like we don't just go do that all the time. Mm-hmm. So if it ever came around, I think we would just need to have a conversation about it before it happened.
Yeah.
For us both to feel comfortable, because then if I'm in the unknown, I'm going to, you know, I can think of things and start going down a rabbit hole in my own head. And then you'll probably feel uncomfortable doing it. And then it doesn't feel good. So it's like just talking and figuring that out together is a lot better. So it's not just like a black and white answer.
Yeah. I get that. Okay, so let me ask you something about your past then, because you've had these friends for a long time, right? These female friends. In your past relationships, right before me, were you okay with that partner having friends of the opposite sex?
Like,
were you being fair?
Absolutely not. But also, I've never had a relationship where the dynamic is like this, where it's like, okay, we're keeping tabs on who's being fair and who's not being fair. I was just completely being unfair the entire time. So to me, it was kind of like I had my own world of my friends and just doing whatever I wanted. And then when it was time to be with whoever the girl was, like it was separate. I kept them separate.
You never mesh both worlds.
Yeah.
That was never meant to work. There's no way that can work.
Absolutely not. Yeah. I did that on purpose for a long time. And then I realized that wasn't cool. Mm-hmm. I think I always had it in me to like, I always knew I wanted to be a good person. I just didn't know how to. And I didn't have an experience to get to that point yet. And then when a new situation would come, then I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to tell you that I'm going to do this. So to me, I felt like it was a step forward. Even though it was still wrong, I was like, well, at least I'm telling this person what it is and that it's not official. It's not this. It's not that.
So you weren't being nice.
I wasn't, but I also wasn't happy either.
Okay, yeah.
And I felt like I was searching for this thing to like, what's going to make me happy? Why am I not happy? And it just
wasn't the right fit. It wasn't the right person.
It wasn't.
And so that person, not to say that they're bad, but it was just not the right fit, and you weren't able to be your best self, or you weren't ready, or I don't know. But I was just wondering because, I think about it all the time. I'm like, okay, when we first met, he would go to lunch with his girlfriends a lot, and now you don't. And I don't ever want them to think that it's because of me, because I'm okay with it. And I also, and if I can ask you, is it because, you don't want to do it because then you don't want me to do it perhaps? Or is it just life is happening and you haven't been able to do it?
I think it's a mixture of both. Like sometimes I'm like, well, do I even want to open this can of worms? But I don't think of that like in a malicious way where I'm like, well, it is tricky. But also a bigger part of it is we're just doing other stuff.
Yeah.
And it has nothing to do with like, I'm not doing this on purpose. Your priorities just grow different, and you have this schedule, and like in a good and bad way, you fall into like a life schedule.
Yeah.
And like we have our routines and we do what we do. And there's like a wild card time where I'm like, okay, well, we don't know what we're going to do. We're just going to go figure it out and have fun. And we have so many different worlds that we can go step into.
Yeah.
And so many different friend groups. So it's like anything can almost happen.
Well, I just want to, give you some peace of mind and some ease, and it's here recorded that I wouldn't mind. I think for me, if there was someone new that came about and you're going to go to lunch with them, that would make me feel weird at this point. But if it's the women that I've already met that I know that respect me and I respect them, and, I don't mind. I think it's actually good for you because they're your friends and they give you good advice, and what I'm afraid of happening is you had a whole life before me and your life has changed. But I also don't want you to abandon that 100% because that's your individuality. And maybe you'll go and say, you know what, it was cool, but I don't need to do that for a while, or I just rather go with my wife, or I don't know. But I don't want it to like, for you not to do it because you're worried about me. I'm okay with it. Like, because if you get lost in my world, then you're going to eventually resent me. I mean, but I think we have a different relationship where we speak about a lot of things. We have great communication, and that is absolutely key, guys. Communication. I always say this with your partner, and being honest and bringing things to the table and discussing it and finding a middle ground that's going to make a world of a difference.
Yeah. And I feel really confident on this, which I think helps both of our insecurities, is that we created our world. So when I'm with you, it's not that I'm just in your world and I do anything you want.
Yeah,
and
no, it's
everything you say.
our world for sure. No.
I feel that more than ever. Like our home, our marriage, our life. Like when we're together, I don't ever feel like I'm just doing everything she wants. And it's her world and I'm just getting dragged along in it. Like I don't feel that in our relationship at all.
That's awesome. I'm glad to hear that, because then I think that also changed in me as soon as we got married. There was like a switch, and then couples therapy helped a lot with. It's not you and him, it's you guys, and you guys are a team. I think she used our therapist Tanya, who you guys have met here on the podcast as well. She said that you were on the same basketball team, and in order to win the game, you have to work together. It's not. How does she say it? Can you'll explain it better?
It's just we're a team and we can't win or lose against each other, because the moment you start doing that, you already lost everything.
Or see it as a separation.
Yeah, we have to. It's you and me versus the problem, and that's what it's going to be.
I love that.
Yeah,
we're a power team. Okay, babe. So I have a question, Emilio Sanchez. So do you think it is possible, now that we've talked about all this, for relationships to be healthy and work when one of the partners or both of the partners have friends of the opposite sex? Do you really think it can work?
I think it absolutely can work, for sure.
How? Give people some advice. Tell them what's the best thing that they can do. Like, because we talked a little bit about everything, but now we need to give them like, This is the advice.
Yeah. I mean, when you brought that up right now that I introduced you to them very fast, like honestly, that was me panicking. Like, because I was so uncomfortable with it in the past. I'm like, I need to do this right now because
okay.
But I'm also glad I did it. But now today I would have done it differently. There would be no brush, but I felt a guilt because I'm like also scared because I also cared about what we had at the beginning, and I cared about our relationship and your feelings. But it was out of panic because I've never done that before. So it did feel scary. It did feel like maybe I was doing it for the wrong reason or I'm hiding things. And it's like, no, I didn't know what I was doing. But I also am glad now that we did it. But yeah, I mean, I would never bring anyone that I shouldn't bring in or around us, our life, or around you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like you're really good with that. You wouldn't bring anyone that's weird or, doesn't have good intentions.
Yeah.
You're very good. Like you said earlier, you're very good with reading people, and I trust your judgment and I trust your opinion very much. And what do you think about people staying in contact or being friends with their exes?
Personally, I think that's different for everyone. Some people are more comfortable. Some people are not comfortable. But personally, in our life, I'm not comfortable with it in our relationship and in our life. I don't think it's necessary. If there was things in the beginning that we needed to let go of them, do it.
Yeah.
I don't think there needs to be a relationship there.
Yeah. I personally feel that there's no need. Just recently we had a bit of a situation because of Johnny. Johnny's very close to an ex of mine. I don't need to say names. People that know will know. But he was going through a situation, my ex, and I had a conversation through Johnny with him, and he just wanted to say thank you to me about something. And it happened so quickly that I didn't have a chance to let Emilio know, hey, this is going to happen, because it just happened without planning. But I decided and I chose to be honest with Emilio because I'm like, there's just no way that I'm going to keep that inside and keep it from him, and it's going to make me feel good. And I want to ask you, like, how did that make you feel when I told you?
Yeah, it's weird because, like, as like a real person, like you think like, oh, well, maybe you shouldn't have done it without telling me first. But then you also understand like, well, I guess the way it happens. And I know Johnny, and I know how he is. And he just kind of wants, like, if he has like a moment, he wants you in the moment. So like, I understand how it happened. It didn't bother me too much. It probably alerts you a little bit. Probably like you got my attention, but I don't think it did anything more than that. And I don't think it needs to be more than what it was.
Yeah. You told me that. You said, okay, then it happened. Thank you for letting me know. And let's just leave it at that. Don't let that continue. Don't let that one conversation turn into more. And I respected that. And I said, okay, cool. I just wanted to be honest with you and let you know, because there's no bad blood there. I'm grateful, and he's married and he's doing his thing, and he knows I'm married. It was just a little conversation, but I did feel I needed to be honest with you, with him, with Emilio. And now that we're talking about this topic, I do think that something that goes hand in hand with this is ultimatums. Emilio and I love shows, 90 Day Fiancé, The Ultimatum, all that stuff. And we had this conversation one time in bed. And I personally don't think ultimatums work. I think your partner should know what is right-ish, right? And I personally never thought to even tell Emilio, hey, especially because these girls, his friends, were there before me, to say, okay, well, it's either your friendship with them or myself. I didn't even want to go in the relationship with that energy. One thing I will tell you is, when this whole thing came up where he's like, hey, my friend hit me up and I'm going to go do a photo shoot and this and that. And I said, wait, what friend? I was like, I've never heard of her. I did tell him, well, you can't do it. As the words were coming out of my mouth, I was like, oh, this isn't good, Janae. Like, this isn't good. This is money for him. They're paying him. Like, he's also his friend. It's kind of, he's doing him a favor. Like, I just, And then I backtracked and I said, I'm so sorry that I said that. I don't want to be that person. Do it. Like, I don't want to stop you from making your money, or not only that, for you to make a decision on your own. And I will tell you guys, he went and he was so good about it. Hey, babe, I'm here. Send me videos, pictures. Like, he does his part. You do your part, babe, at making me feel comfortable. And I think that's amazing. Like, I didn't ask you for any of that stuff. I knew the day came and I'm like, okay, I don't know this girl. Because I was like, well, let me see her Instagram. Who is this girl? I sure did. Little Toxie comes in a little bit. And I was like, oh, she's cute. I was like, okay, it's okay, Janae. It's fine. This is not your first rodeo with him. It's fine. There are always beautiful women around Emilio. Chill out. I had to talk to myself and be like, Janae, it's fine. But then he by himself was like, hey, babe, I'm here. I'm going. I'm leaving. Communication is so important. And tell me, how did it make you feel when I told you, well, you can't do it?
I forgot that happened. I think I felt the same thing you think. I'm like, I think what you're saying right now is not you. Like, that's not the real you. And it just alerts you,
Yeah.
And again, it's another reason why I picked you. It's another reason why I trust you, because like, you check yourself, and a lot of people don't do that. And I trust that you'll get to that place of clear thinking on your own sometimes. So I'm glad that worked. When I was there at the shoot, I obviously, the way my brain works is just like, well, what would I want her doing if it was the other way around? Like, if I don't text you the whole time I was there, I'm like, oh, I got busy. I'm like, well, it takes 2 seconds to send a text. It's just making that effort. And like, for me, I have that feeling of like, I want to take care of Janae. I need to like, just make sure she's good. No matter what I'm doing. I could have been hanging out with one of my guy friends. I could have been doing this, but that always stays in my head of like, let me make sure you're good, because it's the most important thing for me.
Thanks, dude. And what do you think about ultimatums?
Ultimatums. I think thankfully we've never got, like, that's never been a topic of conversation in our relationship. I think it is a very common thing. It's something that you think of, like, when I think of like relationships or even my past relationship, like, well, you either cut this person out or you don't, or it's me or them,
I don't think that's healthy.
I don't think our foundation would ever let us get to that point.
Yeah.
Thankfully.
Thank God.
I think if that's what you're getting to, then you have other problems to fix in your relationship before having to make that decision of ultimatum. I don't think they're healthy. I don't think they're good.
Yeah.
If we get to that point, I would hope that you would have enough information on your end to like make the right decision, or to take care of that in your own way. Like, at least I know. If I got to a point where I'm like, well, dang, I have to choose between someone and my wife, like, I mean, I wouldn't throw fuel on that fire to keep it going for you to have to give me that ultimatum. Mm-hmm. I'd handle it on my own and never let it get to that.
Yeah.
And I think that's why we work, because we get that with each other. Yeah.
I think it all just depends on the situation, but I think 90% of the time, 95% of the time, an ultimatum just isn't healthy. I wouldn't want to put anyone in that position of having to choose, because I want them to choose freely what they want and what they think is right. And if they're meant for me, they're going to make the right decision without me having to ask. That's really my take on it. And I feel like if you give someone an ultimatum, like, and they do what you want, then it would never feel organic for me. It would feel like I forced you to do this and make this decision. And guys, remember, when I met Emilio, I was 70 pounds heavier. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do.
Now I'm the hottest I've ever been in my whole life.
Yes, you are.
But I'm working very hard at it, okay? I have to wake up at 5:30 in the morning to go work out. Not have to, I choose to. Anyway, so I feel like it was more this whole trust thing that we have between each other with having friends of the opposite sex. I think it just comes with the feeling we give each other. It's not even like because I physically feel better, because even when I was heavier, this is when everything happened. When we first started, I was thick, You loved it, right?
Yeah. Now you're just thick.
Now I'm just thick. Before I was thick. So I do think that it was just something that it's how you handle the situation, babe, that made me feel more confident and secure with myself because I knew you were completely attracted to me. And even if these girls, they are beautiful and a lot thinner than I was, it was how you treated me and how you made me, even when we went to go eat with them, it was like you made me feel like I was the most beautiful girl in the room. You've always made me feel that way, even when I was bigger. Like for sure, because I thought I was the hottest thing walking around.
You were. You are.
Because now I see videos and I'm like, okay, damn, all right, yeah. People would call me Miss Piggy. Now I see why. I was like, okay, but still, I was cute, But you made me feel very confident, and I think it's also your partner, how they make you feel, and you constantly tell me. We tell each other, like I really honestly, I see you, and when I tell you that you're handsome, it's because I feel it in that moment. I'm like, damn, he's so handsome, like. I don't know, like as time goes by, I'm like, dude, he's hot, And I think that helps.
Yeah. And I get it because I'll look at you and I'm like, you're so beautiful. I'm like, you look so pretty. And like, you really do. And you think, oh, are you like, just saying that? I'm like, no, I'm looking at you.
Thanks.
And I see it and I feel it. Yeah. It's funny because in the beginning, everyone has insecurities and they're so dumb, like I remember like, oh, well, maybe you like that guy because he has bigger arms. So I'm like, oh, well, man, I need bigger arms. But then I'm like, cool. If that guy has bigger arms, guess what? I know what I give in this relationship and all of the inner work and all of the patience and all of the communication and everything that I give to actually make this relationship function. That holds more weight than any sort of size arms or any sort of abs or any sort of what other someone else has or in a material way. Like I'm so at peace with that now. And I feel so secure in us and our relationship and with myself. I'm like, I know what we have because of you and me.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no sort of physical thing on this earth that can ever make me not feel that.
Yeah. And I think it also took me also giving you that confidence. Because at first I think you felt that way, but because I wasn't doing my job as your girlfriend of making you feel more confident, I think, maybe, I don't know, because I think we had little conversations about that, or I just reinforced you more. I don't really know, but yeah.
There's many layers. There's many layers of making your partner feel secure. And we've just worked on that. We've worked on it because when we didn't, or when there was just a lack of just in the beginning, just naturally there's, we need to figure how to make our partner feel secure. We can tell the difference and it brings things out. And I think we're great at adjusting. Okay. This fight in the beginning of our relationship, why did we fight? What caused it? Well, if it has to do with someone else or something else, okay, then we know how to fix it.
Yeah.
And naturally over time, fixing all those problems makes your partner feel more secure if you do it in the right way.
Yeah. And I think for me, it came with age. It came with age where I was just like, I know who I am. I know my heart. I know what I bring to the table. And I don't mean materialistically, I mean like my heart, and what I want and what I want out of life. And I think that also gives you a different type of confidence, because there's always going to be someone that's prettier and more fit than you are. That's just what it is. It has prettier hair or whatever the case may be. But as long as you know who you are and the depth of your heart and what you bring to someone's life, that is unique and no one else can replace that. Like that's what's given me at this age, at this, moment of my life, has given me a different type of confidence.
Yeah.
So
the way I make you feel, knowing how I can make you feel on any given day, on any given moment, that gives me a lot of security and a lot of confidence.
Yeah.
Because I know you could be having the worst day ever, and within 10 minutes, we're laughing and just in our own world.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like, I'm super confident in that.
And just to close this and conclude this episode, if you do have friends of the opposite sex and you are going to enter a new relationship, be honest from the very beginning. Let them know, hey, just want you to know one of my really good friends happens to be a dude, or vice versa. Be honest. I personally feel that there's no need for a friend to text you too late unless it's an emergency. And if so, let your partner know, like, hey, so-and-so just text me. It's 11 p.m. Just want to show you nothing or tell me the next morning. I don't know. Let the person know before they find out. I think that that is the best thing that you could do, is bringing the information forward.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like, it is pretty simple. Like, just don't let anything happen that you wouldn't want your partner doing. It's just really what it is. Like, also trust that your partner will handle or stop anything, because, we can't control what other people do. And I'm pretty confident that you would know how to maneuver through that. And if anything, you would probably come to me first and be like, look what's, which I would do the same. I would be the first person to stop something that someone was trying to infiltrate us in any sort of way. I'd just show you and be like, look at this. Like, we're a unit,
Yeah. Like, don't let those conversations, inappropriate conversations, even if you're not the one initiating it, don't let one text message go into more and more and more. Like, it's a snowball effect, and just, you got to nip it in the bud. And that's it. Like, if the person can't respect that you're in a relationship, then that's not a friend, first of all. But if you have a good friend that you've been friends with for a long time and they are of the opposite sex, tell your partner, be honest about it, respect your partner, especially when they're not around. And I think it's common sense at the end of the day. Like Emilio said, don't do anything that you wouldn't want your partner to do. Plain and simple. Treat people the way you want to be treated. Bottom line. Put yourself in your partner's shoes. If it was the other way around, how would I feel? That's what I always ask myself. I like to put myself in other people's shoes, and I'm like, okay, yeah, this isn't cool, because I wouldn't like it. So always ask yourself that. And honesty is the best policy. It's the truth. That is the truth. It sounds cliche, but it is true. I don't know if there's anything else you want to add, babe, before we say goodbye.
Yeah, no, I think we've been doing a good job at that. And I think it was a few days ago where I told you, I'm like, I feel pretty confident with your loyalty towards me.
Same.
Like, it's one of the rock solid things that we have.
For sure. Yeah.
Like, I feel that with you. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's important. Yeah, loyalty, respect, trust, communication, forgiveness, patience. Being married, being in a relationship isn't easy, you guys, but when both people want to make it work, they will find a way. And that's that. Guys, thank you for listening. I hope that you were able to take some good stuff from this conversation with my husband, and that we're able to help you in some way. And thank you. Thank you for coming back to Chiquis and Chill, the podcast where you get to chill, learn, listen, grow, and glow. It's my new little thing, guys. I don't know. I love you guys. Los quiero mucho. And I will, I'll see you guys soon. This is a production of iHeartRadio and the My Cultura Podcast Network. Follow us on Instagram at My Cultura Podcast, and follow me, Chiquis, that's CHIQUIS. For more podcasts from iHeart, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast.